be. There's like 3 different ones, and they're all like top 50. But going back a year, there's nothing from him. So it's unfortunate that we don't get to talk about that. That was a sick run. I know everyone else has talked about that throughout the day. Just wanted to put in my 2 cents and congratulate Blazy on an amazing performance today. But yeah, you mentioned the rest of the people that we have in this tournament. We're starting right now with Cosolix versus Santy. This is going to be a good one. They're ready to get into it right now. We're going to Demon Island. Santy coming in with the Val pick. Cosolix coming in with the Scarlet pick.
The Scarlet pick is interesting. He was been playing the Macho Man Randy Savage for the better part of this tournament, and now that he's on the lower side after his loss to Cody Travis, I guess he's busting out kind of a more tried and true character in this Scarlet. Of course, there's nothing wrong with Scarlet or Macho Man or the Sir Roland that Cosolix will sometimes pick. It's kind of just what flavor he's feeling at that moment.
I'm surprised that he went that far with the Macho Man, because I will think that his axe is always going to be worse than his hammer. Like obviously he spent more time on the Scarlet, so he's had more time to develop the hammer. Also, I just think hammer is going to be the better weapon than axe, even though axe is a very strong weapon.
Yeah, definitely in terms of just raw player experience, Cosolix has much more experience with the hammer. Also, definitely much more experience with that lance, as he's going to get the first knockout with that lance ground pound. A lot of force behind that one. Santy charged a little bit too long for that. That downlight gravity cancel.
Oh, no,
that's a stock.
not again.
Is that a stock? No, he got back.
Still, a lot of damage was done, and going with the Scarlet pick, look, you are going to have an inherent major advantage on so many different maps, including the one that we're on right now of Demon Island. Santy needs to ban out every single tiny walled map because of the hammer side signature on Scarlet. But you were talking about experience, and between these two, there's not a lot with each other. Overall, in the past year, it's a 1-0 in favor of Cosolix. He is showing that right now, while he still has all of his stocks. Santy's on his final. He's going to have to struggle to find that weapon. It's going to go into the left side easily in his hands. D-Light recovery going to knock out off the top, but Cosolix still full stock ahead.
Yeah, in terms of just kind of general experience, Cosolix is one of those players where it's hard to get like just raw experience against that playstyle, because he has a very unique playstyle where if Santy plays a whole lot of ranked, there's very few Lance players who are going to play exactly the same as Cosolix, where you can just be like, all right, I have Lance experience, and that's going to be good enough for this matchup. Right now, though, Santy struggling against this Lance of Cosolix, throws out an interesting raw neutral signature. Not sure what he was reading there. Maybe a down air from Cosolix, but was a little bit preemptive.
I think that had to have been a misinput, because a neutral sig the other way might have found its mark if Cosolix wasn't able to react in time. The other way would have been much more of a realistic option. Oh, nice side signature off the edge. Santy's going to even up the stocks. He's in the red right now, but you were talking about experience in ranked against Lance players. He's going to run into the exact same thing in bracket as well, because there aren't that many very good Lance players right now.
Yeah, Cosolix has long been the kind of herald of the Lance players. At one point was literally the only Lance player that you would see in tournament, and it goes to show just all of the experience that he's built up playing Lance, being one of the top competitors, consistent top 8s. Fantastic spot dodge from Santy there. Very experienced against Hammer, at the very least, recognizing that in that position, Hammer players love to go for that reversal down air.
Now, despite being a very strong player, and you can see what he's doing right here, he might get this game, and he does take the first game off of Cosolix. Santy isn't top 8ing tournaments very often. The last time he did it was an Autumn Championship of 2019, and that was the only time in singles that he did it throughout all of 2019. So him getting this far, taking first game against Cosolix, already a huge step in his career.
Yeah, and I appreciate you putting that little asterisk on it and saying that it's in singles that caveat happens, because in doubles, he's a very proficient twos player alongside Simba. It just doesn't always translate over to the single space. There's a lot of things that he does in twos that just fundamentally won't work, right? Like, he can't just go for neutralites and expect someone to bounce him back, get this huge burst of damage. Instead, a neutralite's just gonna get a little bit of damage on an opponent.
And those things that are like 1 dodge frame, 2 dodge frames, those things aren't gonna work in singles play on the regular. Meanwhile, you can pick those up in doubles a lot more. So these more string heavy weapons where you have to get the read, those are sometimes easier to play, or at least get the strings, get those reads, get those reactions in twos, even if you don't have like the longer range of a hammer or an axe or a lance.
Yeah, speaking of range, the hitboxes on those weapon tosses are also quite large. We're seeing Cosolix use that to great effect. It's something that a lot of Lance players like to do on their return back to stage. But we're seeing Cosolix do it in the neutral, do it in the off stage, trying to throw straight down. He's been using the large, wide hitboxes of that Lance to kind of catch Santy, and Santy has not been ready for it.
Now, Cosolix is going to take the first stock just barely before Santy was able to find the knockout. Sidelight, D-Light, doesn't find the third. Santy's going to be looking for that knockout option. You're seeing the downlights come out from him. Just the raw recovery, though, doesn't need the downlight to start it off. Picks that up while Cosolix was stuck in the air. Knocks him out off the top. Extremely even game. Just the way Cosolix is playing, he's giving a lot more respect to Santy that Santy earned definitely 100% in game one.
Yeah, but you're also seeing Santy give some respect to Cosolix. On the respawn, Santy kind of disengaged, went over to the left side, didn't want to push the weapon advantage that he had over Cosolix, and now you're seeing him, again, really respect the space that this Lance is able to control.
Dodge circles happening between Cosolix and Santy over on the left side. Cosolix able to win it out. He's the only one with a weapon right now. Sword comes in, but Santy might get knocked out here. That side air sent him really far. He's in the red. Still able to get back to the platform, but another side air from Cosolix as Santy was making his way over. Dodges the down signature, charges the side signature.
Nice.
Nice side air punish.
Oh!
Gravity cancel, neutral signature. Dodge came off of cooldown. There's the signature. Knockout off the top.
And Santy has been really relying on those kind of offstage gimps. It's something that he does have the opportunity for with these fantastic offstage weapons like the gauntlets and the sword over the Lance, but you're seeing Cosolix very practiced in the offstage. He knows Lance can struggle there, but he's able to get those turnarounds, get those punishes on his opponents.
Now, you saw him just punish a D-Light with a D-Light. I'm not sure. Santy just kind of floated back into him. I don't know if his dodge was just completely down or he didn't press the button in time, but I'm surprised that Cosolix was able to find that Santy didn't just completely jump or dodge away from the first D-Light.
And this time, not able to dodge away from that side air either. Cosolix from below with the hammer, showing a little bit more proficiency with that hammer like you were talking about in game number one. Just he's a little bit more comfortable with this weapon. You're seeing him not immediately try to swap away for it for the Lance in the way that he has been in the past.
Now, that ground pound from Santy came straight down onto Cosolix, who had a hammer in his hands. You saw that little animation showing that he knocked out the recovery. It must have been before the hitboxes actually came out during the startup of that recovery that he was able to get the victory there, get that, but it wasn't enough. Cosolix takes game two. We're tied 1-1 in this set. Santy bans out tiny walled maps, leaving Small Mammoth, Small Enigma, and Miami Dome, and we're going to the Dome.
It's very interesting that he's getting rid of tiny walled maps, considering, like we said in game number two, how important it has been for Santy to get those offstage gimps, to get those wall touch denials. Getting rid of maps where there's less wall for Cosolix to touch makes it harder to achieve that goal.
It is going to be tough with that, but you haven't seen the strongest offstage presence from Santy so far, and maybe giving Cosolix a little bit more of a wall to recover to, maybe that'll encourage him to play offstage more rather than, oh, I have a hammer in my hand, I can get back to the stage, and I can still put out edge presence while maintaining the safety and control of the stage with the hammer side signature. Even the down signature on Lance is fantastic to just throw out over the edge. You're almost completely safe, and you can still catch people who are jumping just a little bit too high. So I think these longer walls actually help Santy a lot more if that encourages Cosolix to maybe play on the edge more, or it even gives Santy a little bit more room to stay not right up on that corner where Cosolix can throw those signatures over and just sit with that down signature on Lance as well.
Well, so far, Cosolix has not been shoved off stage. This time the side air will put him in the off stage, and Santy's gonna go for it, but Cosolix just goes past, goes for the slide charge, down sig. Santy with the turnaround, nice side sig, and he is going to boxing taunt in celebration of getting that side signature.
He's going to throw out that shadow boxing taunt. He didn't have to worry about any opponent. That's why he was shadow boxing, because he knocked out Cosolix in the process. We'll see how long he can stay here. Started with that sidelight, missed the neutral air. Sidelight recovery from Cosolix, almost going to clean up that stock. That higher defense from Val is going to be holding on. Santy trying to get back to the middle of the stage, as far away from the blast zones as he possibly can be. Weapon toss coming out. He's able to pick up the sword almost immediately, though.
Really good spacing from Santy to actually pick up that downline at the tail end of Cosolix's move. Neutral sig not going to quite hit the mark, and Cosolix finds the side air to punish. That's going to put this into even territory between the two players.
Side air is going to be the equalizer. Weapon spawn coming in. The Nair hits Santy, but that weapon spawn goes suspiciously over to him.
He got the call down. He's got that walkie-talkie to ask for the weapon spawn right on top of him.
Another neutral light coming out from Cosolix, just completely maintaining ground control. Spot dodges through the neutral air, finds the follow-up down air, side light into recovery. There is a weapon spawn on stage. Santy sticking with the gauntlets. Back-to-back neutral airs from Cosolix. Nice surprise side signature, knocking out in orange.
Cosolix was not expecting that side signature. That is going to be a nice pickup for Santy. Cosolix back to that neutral game, keeping that verticality, using those neutral airs to juggle Santy, and those soft platforms are going to make it harder for Santy to get back down onto the stage. On stage, thrown out, but Santy gets close to the wall, knows that that does not hit stack, so if he gets stacked up or right underneath, then he will be safe.
If he can find knockout options consistently with gauntlets, that'll help him so much because you aren't seeing that many D-Light recovery knockout options on the sword. His D-Lights are kind of a non-issue this game against Cosolix. Cosolix is either staying on the ground when Santy's in the air, not giving them the option to do a gravity cancel D-Light, or he's just completely controlling the air as well when Santy's in there with sword. So it's mostly been a gauntlet game for Santy that's he's found the most success with.
And that's kind of been historical for Vals as a whole, is just kind of that struggle to finish off a stock and relying on side signatures for both the sword and the gauntlets to finish off these stocks because, as you were saying, it can be a little bit difficult to get those setups for the recoveries.
Sidelight Santy fast falls down onto the stage. We are dead even in stock and damage. Nice side air going to send Santy into the red. Sidelight recovery for the knockout. Cosolix taking it.
One game left for Cosolix to close it out and go into the losers semifinals alongside his 2v2 teammate of Wrenched. And Santy again going to ban out these smaller walled maps, but Cosolix not going to go for the map that he just won on. Knows that that was a little bit too close for comfort. So he's going to go for my Mammoth, a little bit more of a popular pick in the tournament realm.
3, 2, 1, brawl.
Both of them kind of floating around each other, wanting that first weapon. It's going to be Cosolix able to just float over while Santy was playing a little bit defensive in the very beginning. Hammer coming out for Cosolix. Stomp sidelight into the neutral heavy. Santy's in orange after like 5 or 6 hits.
Yeah, that was a nice read from Cosolix, reading the jump out from Santy. Able to pick up that neutral signature, and of course Scarlet, high strength character. Despite the fact that Val's got some defense on her, those signatures are going to hit pretty hard.
There's the Nair. There's one of the first gravity cancel D-Lights we've seen. Great punish option from Santy. Back-to-back D-Lights again from Cosolix, hitting both of those, sending Santy further into the red.
Yeah, but Cosolix needs to find this finishing blow. It's going to be the sidelight recovery. And Cosolix takes the early lead, deciding what weapon he wants to stick with, and it's going to be the Lance.
Cosolix really starting to take a lead here. If Santy is unable to find a knockout, we could see Cosolix all but easily taking this. There's a nice side air. Gravity
Waiting for
cancel,
the opportunity.
neutral signature. Saving that recovery. Oh my gosh, and Santy ends up basically saving him with this.
Oh.
Cosolix continuing to extend his stock. Santy is almost in knockout range on his second stock. He's got to be careful how he wants to engage.
This is a very confident Cosolix right now, willing to go off stage with the unarmed against Santy with a weapon in hand. Cosolix is really feeling himself right now, and you'll love to see it. You'll love to see a really confident Lance player.
Yeah, I don't know whether that gravity canceled neutral light unarmed on the edge was a misinput, or it could be exactly what you said. It could be that confidence, which that would be a big vote of confidence that Cosolix has in himself to just gravity cancel in light on the edge. Sidelight recovery, that's going to be the knockout. Almost full stock lead for Cosolix.
Yeah, this is big for Cosolix, and of course going to be sticking with the Lance again for potentially tournament stock for Santy. He's going to need something massive here. A Gimp would do it. He's got to shove Cosolix off stage and deny the wall touches. He wasn't able to do it on the first stock, but he's going to need to do it now.
Nice little reset. Grabs the neutral light to put Cosolix into orange on the soft platform. D-lighting off the edge. Weapon spawn coming in, but he jumps after grabbing it. Cosolix punishes with a side air. Hits a neutral air. Santy's running out of time.
Oh. Barely touches, but Cosolix! The option coverage with that. throwing out the weapon toss to bait out the dodge up, hitting a ground pound right afterwards. Cosolix with a dominating 3-1 finish over Santy to earn his spot in the losers semifinals against Wrenched.
Cosolix looked very, very, very strong in that, just completely dealing with anything that Santy had. We saw Santy have a nice little fight for his comeback, but then that just kind of got taken away. There were parts where it was really, really close. They would sometimes be on the same stock count, both in the red, but man, Cosolix's ability to find the sidelight recovery for his knockout option consistently was fantastic for him. He was able to get, once Santy was in the red,